Okay, hello everybody. Today we're going to talk about the coronavirus. Yesterday, Oregon Health Authority announced that the first confirmed case of coronavirus was found in Oregon. It's not officially confirmed, it's presumed is what they're calling it, but they just need secondary confirmation to fully confirm it. But they announced yesterday, I watched the press conference from Governor Kate Brown and some of the other people in the Oregon Health Authority, and it's kind of concerning. I didn't think coronavirus was such a big deal until probably yesterday. Before they announced it, I didn't know about it, but I started looking into it, and it's like, oh man, there's quite a few people that are infected so far. But I'll put a link in the description to this website that shows the amount of people infected and how many people have died, because it's over 2,000 so far. I didn't think it was that much, but I think it's important that people know how this disease is. A lot of people compare it to the flu and how the flu kills a lot of people every year, and all that is true, but it's important to use precautions. So I want to talk a little bit about how you can help yourself and help the world as a whole to slow the spread or stop the spread. So first we'll talk about how it's spread. The coronavirus is spread through close contact with someone who's sick, like being near someone who's coughing, also shaking hands with somebody who has the virus on them, as well as touching a surface that has the virus on it and then touching your mouth. So that leads us to some of the signs. How do you know if you're getting sick? Some of the signs of coronavirus are a cough, difficulty breathing, and a fever. That's pretty general, but that's what they know right now. So that can look like pretty much anything. It could look like a cold, it could look like the flu. So it's important to be aware that it might be something more serious. What they recommend if you have symptoms is to stay home from work and call your healthcare provider and ask them what should be done from the phone. They seem to specifically mention the phone because I'm not sure why. I can only speculate that maybe it's so you don't come into a big group of people at the hospital if you're infected with this. And finally, I want to talk about ways that you can prevent this. So there are a few good ways to prevent coronavirus and all other sicknesses as well. It's very similar, but obviously cover your cough, cover your sneeze, wash your hands a lot, and stay home from work if you're sick. That's general precautions for sickness and the spread of disease. But with something that seems to be causing fear around the world, it's important to revisit and take notice and follow. So the reason why I kind of took note of it was because the stock market, people are saying that the stock market the past week has taken a dip not seen since the 2008 collapse, or 2008 crash, I guess. And everyone said it's caused by the coronavirus. I was like, I don't think so. And who knows for sure, but that's what the word on the block is. So I kind of started looking at it, and I even downloaded the game called Plague Inc. Plague Inc. Incorporated, and I played that and put it on casual mode, and of course named my virus the coronavirus. And it was, it's fun. It shows you a map of the world, and you start the disease somewhere and you mutate it to grow and spread, and the goal is to try to infect the entire world. And I kind of played it as, it's kind of topical in the world today, but once I started playing it and started winning, well, it's a little bit less fun. And particularly towards the end, where most of the world has been killed, you're not looking at anything, you're just seeing the world map, and you see the countries going from gray to red as they become infected. There's like a little news thing that goes across the screen, kind of updating you on what the world is doing to try to stop your virus. And the final one was there's only about 1 million people left on the earth that weren't dead, and something came across the screen that said last humans on earth recognize they're watching the end of history. And that was kind of terrifying, because as a human, someone who pays attention to the news, it's like, well, that would be, it's not terribly unrealistic as like a thought that somebody would have at the end of essentially at the end of time. So I don't know if I would recommend playing it. It's a pretty well-made game, but maybe after we get this coronavirus under control. So enough on coronavirus. Today I'm doing a 3-mile run with a target time of 8 minutes 34-second miles. So this is definitely not race pace, but it's faster than probably someone on their 4th run of the year should be running. But I feel pretty good. And so, but I'm out of breath, as you can tell. So I signed up for 5K. I mentioned that in the last video, and I find it's important for me to have something that I am shooting for, to be motivated to work at something, to work at a goal. And that's very representative of life in general. If you don't set goals for yourself, why would you work to get to something that doesn't even exist? So I found that to be true in all of my working out ventures, and I've really only competed in running events. I haven't ever done like CrossFit games, but I can only imagine that it's similar. It's a lot easier to push yourself, hold yourself accountable when you have a goal. And right now I've got a 5K that's coming up in May. It's the last day of February right now, and it gives me just 2 months to prepare for it. So 5K is not terribly long distance. It's only 3.1 miles, I think, 3.2, something like that, which is essentially what I'm running today. But I know me, and I know I get competitive when the gun goes off, so I want to be in a shape where I'm not angry at myself when I don't get a good place in the race. So I think it's important to have goals, have deadlines on those goals. And like for me, I guess I can relate it to right back to reading again. I set a goal, originally 52 books in the year, and that's one per week, but as I was going, I'm pretty far ahead of schedule. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try 60. And if I didn't have that goal, well, I would not have 12 books read this year so far. And it's last day of February. And it also helps to not have as many distractions in the house, like TV, smartphone, computer. We got rid of our TV. Still have the smartphone nipping at my heels, trying to distract me. And the computer, actually, that one isn't so bad because I almost always use that for either producing these videos or writing blog posts or developing websites for my client. So, but the smartphone, that's a hard one. One of the books I'm reading right now is it's called Digital Minimalism, and it's I'll link it in the description. It's a pretty good book. It's very true, and we gave up our TV on Christmas Eve of 2019, so we've been over 2 months without it, and there's been times where I miss it, but it's never in a healthy way. It's the reason why I want the TV there is so that I can distract myself from something that happened at work or things at home that I want to get done. So the TV has been a very good thing to get rid of, and I'd recommend it for anybody who wants to be more productive. Actually, this morning I finished one of the chapters, and he talked about how the temptation to do nothing after a hard day at work, or in the example he gave was after a morning filled with struggles of parenthood, which is what me and my wife are in pretty much every morning, that there's a temptation to want to just relax and do nothing. And the author states that there is a time for that, but you will find that the value of doing nothing, even if you are under a lot of stress or feeling tired, isn't as valuable as doing work, doing something productive. He goes into the chapter talking about building something physical in this world, and how that, even if you are tired, it can be extremely rewarding and actually relaxing and rejuvenating. And that's, before I read this book, I've started to enact those in my life, trying to get rid of the TV so that I'm left with nothing but work to do. And it is very true. I want to encourage all those people that think that when they get home from a long day of work that they are entitled to binge watch 2 hours of Netflix or get on their phone and just like about a bunch of stuff, and or sometimes do both at the same time, which is what me and my wife were sucked into pretty much for the past 5 or 6 years before we had a baby. We get sucked into getting home, throwing on The Office on Netflix for the 100th time, literally, and then pull our phones out because, well, we've already seen the show, so I'm bored. So I get on Facebook and I'm bored watching The Office again, and I'm bored on my phone, and you add up those two bored things, and what do you come up with? Well, feeling exhausted at the end of the night in a bad way, not in a I accomplished something type of way, and that's what you're left with. And it's a hard cycle to get out, because as adults, there's no one saying when you get home from school you need to do your homework. You are responsible for yourself, and you can very easily justify to yourself that you deserve to binge watch Netflix because you worked hard and throughout that day at work or at home with the kids, And you don't necessarily recognize that by the time you get in bed that night that you're exhausted. You can't differentiate between exhausted from work or exhausted from coming home and producing absolutely nothing. And I'd venture a guess that the latter is far more exhausting than work. But that's only true if you're productive at work. You still have your phone at work that can distract you and really sabotage your day. But that book has been pretty good. I'm in a marathon reading session, trying to finish it up before it's due tomorrow at the library. I've only got 40 pages left, so I'll be able to knock that out either tonight or tomorrow. But it's been a good book. Back to the coronavirus, I'm kind of wondering, should I maybe avoid library books for a little while? Or should I wipe them down? Or I would hope the library would have protocols to help not spread disease. I mean, that would be a fast way for that to go if they didn't have protocols for that. But I do get a lot of digital books. Actually, I think most of the things that I have holds on are either Kindle rentals or audiobooks, and obviously those are good. But the reason why those are the only holds I have left is because all the books that I want to read are, most of the actual audiobooks have like 50 holds on them, and it takes a while to get to me, so I've been able to get all of the physical books because people seem to either cruise through those. Hey, doing a little running vlog. Yeah, so I don't think that guy was laughing with me. He seemed to be more laughing at me. That's okay. It is a little bit ridiculous. But the audiobook I just checked out yesterday was called 1776, and it's about the era of the founding fathers. Looks pretty good. Me and Chrissy are planning on going up north into Washington, up to Cougar, the reservoirs up there, and taking the dog and going on a little mini hike. We used to hike a lot more, and the baby, we've had a lot of excuses to not, and we're both like ready to shed that and get out and continue doing what we were doing before we had the baby. So we're going up tomorrow. Should be fun. I may even shoot a little video, and maybe I can interview my wife or something about her thoughts on realism and anything that's on her mind, really. So let's see, I am 2.25 miles into my 3-mile run. Thank you for being my distraction. It seems to work a lot better than listening to a podcast, although that works pretty well. But talking, there seems to be an important delineation between consuming and creating. And that's where social media, I think, becomes so destructive, because it keeps you in a consumption mindset. I'm not one of those people that is anti-consumption, but there are times when it's time to stop consuming and start doing, start acting, start working on something, producing something. And that's where creating comes in. A lot of like Facebook pages, Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts, blogs that are creating content, and it's hard to do, as I've found out. Hell, I guess I wouldn't say it's hard to do. It's hard to get over your fear of rejection. That's the harder part. But once you start creating, man, you feel so much better when you get in bed at night, that you're contributing. You're like, for me, I'm putting my thoughts down on film, I guess. And you have to be a lot more clear when you're saying something or writing something down versus the thoughts just ping-ponging in your head. And when you have to kind of be quote-unquote accountable to the people that watch or read, it makes it so you really have to know your crap. Because if I just turn on this, like this morning, if I was just to turn on this vlog and try to talk about coronavirus and didn't repeat like good information from qualified professionals, which I am not one in the healthcare sector, I could, really lead people in the wrong direction. And that wouldn't be good. So I actually had to do a little bit of research and make sure I knew I wasn't giving out bad information. I will, however, put a link to the Oregon Health Authority PDF. It's like a one-page coronavirus informational PDF. It's good. It's where I got all the information I shared today. It's from the Oregon Health Authority, and I'm going to print that off and tape it on my garage door and on the inner garage door, so when I come home from work, I'm reminded that I need to wash my hands. I need to cover my cough, keep my hands away from my face, because I got a little 4-month-old, and last thing that anybody needs is throwing a coronavirus diagnosis in there. I don't even know how that would work. Don't want to find out. Okay, about a quarter mile left. One of the things that I really liked in that Digital Minimalism book was it talks about likes versus comments, and how much prefer a comment over a like on this video. If you made it to the end, put a comment down there. Say, even if you just say liked, that'd be good. But if you have a few more seconds, I'd appreciate constructive criticism on this channel, things you'd like to hear me talk about, maybe people you'd like me to interview, things like that, things that would be good for you. Tell me if this out of breath vlog thing doesn't work, because I like it, I enjoy it, but I'm not so sure it's entertaining to hear me gasping for air when I'm trying to run a 9-minute mile. If that is not good, let me know. I'd like to try to adjust, maybe take you on my slower runs, or not run at all with the camera. Okay, let's see. I'm at 2.94. Stretch it out, lengthen my stride, and finish fast. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Please comment below and let me know what you think. All right, bye.